So good morning, everyone. Welcome to this session, the second webinar that we are going to hold on aerospace and defense. And the initiative is known as AeroDef 2021. My name is Vikas Vandral and I am the co-founder and director of SolutionBuggy, an online platform that connects small and medium scale enterprise with the subject matter experts. We have 60,000 small and medium scale enterprises and entrepreneurs. So existing industries and new entrepreneurs who want to enter on one hand, and on the other hand, we have 10,000 experts from different functions. It could be very, very technical function, right? Product development, research and development, to very, very commercial, like mergers and acquisitions and funding. We have done more than 1,500 projects across different segments in the last 4 years. Aerospace and defense is also an integral part, and of course one of the sunrise sector that we are catering to. In this initiative, where we are conducting webinar on different segments, we started with aerospace and defense, which will be soon followed by food processing, chemicals, pharma, and packaging. So this is the second webinar in the series. So the first one was held last week, and then we'll have 5 of these seminars. So I welcome you on behalf of SolutionBuggy. And to set the context, I will say that India is one of the top 5 military expenditure countries, which means that the defense budget is in top 5 in the world. And it has a growing defense industry. And our defense minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, he has a vision to make aerospace and defense a $25 billion market in India, and out of that $5 billion exports. So with this, few years back, our Prime Minister, he set up the tone for defense corridors in Tamil Nadu and also in UP. Other than this, there have been states who already have that ecosystem, that infrastructure of aerospace and defense. Karnataka, Telangana, and up to some extent Gujarat and Maharashtra has good ecosystem for aerospace and defense. So with this, I would like to go to our first speaker, Wing Commander Madhusudan. So I'll just read out his profile. So Wing Commander P. Madhusudan is currently the Vice President, Aerospace and Defense, Tamil Nadu Industrial Development Corporation, TIDCO. TIDCO is a nodal agency for implementation of the Tamil Nadu Defense Industrial Corridor. Prior to this assignment, he was a business head of a large aerospace and defense account at HCL Technologies Limited. He was commissioned in the Indian Air Force in the technical branch in October 92. And served till April 2016 in the domain of radar, communication, IT, network security, and data centers. He is an alumnus of Government College of Technology, Coimbatore, Air Force Technology College, Bangalore, IIT Bombay, and IIM Ahmedabad. Welcome, sir, and thanks for accepting to address this webinar. So to start with, I will request you to tell more about your corporation, which is TIDCO, what are the work you are doing, and a bit about Tamil Nadu Defense Corridor.
Thanks a lot, Vikas. Good morning, everyone. It's a real proud moment for me to be sitting in front of people to talk about what we are doing in Tamil Nadu Industrial Development Corporation towards the self-reliance and defense of the nation, and how probably we could help MSME to tap this market, to help the small industries to tap this huge market. What we could do, that would be the crux of my presentation. Let me just go to my presentation. Okay, I hope this is visible. Is my slide visible? If someone can give us feedback. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just do a quick analysis of the MOD budget. The MOD budget for the year 2021 comes out to a total of about 4,78,000 crores. So it's a hell of a lot of money. Out of which, if you look at the defense services, like forget about the pensions and other things, if you come down to the table, which is there on the second left bottom, The revenue expenditure, which is more of to do with salaries, maintenance and other expenditure, this comes to about 2 lakh crores. While the capital expenditure is about roughly about a shade over 1 lakh crores. So, but even in that, the revenue expenditure is more in Army, thanks to the large strength which is having, which it has, and slightly less in Navy and least in the Air Force. The total revenue expenditure is to the tune of about 2 lakh crores, out of which 20% is generally used for procurement of items which go into maintenance and ensuring that the fleet, the entire troops, are in a functional manner. So that's about, I would say it's roughly about 40,000 crores. So 40,000 crore is a budget, is a addressable market which could be tapped by the Indian industry pretty easily and more so conveniently for the smaller players. I'm not talking about the players like HAL or BEL. I'm talking about smaller players. Likewise, if you look at the MHA budget as well, Ministry of Home Affairs budget also, it has allocation of about 1.67 lakh crores, out of which about what you can see in the center, Central Armed Police Forces have a budget of 77, almost 78,000 crores. Drawing a parallel to what the analysis which I mentioned in MOD budget, about 20% of it would be again for maintenance or procurement of devices which are going to help the readiness of these police forces. So that would come to about, I would say, 1,500 crores, which is a hell of a lot of money. And if you take the state police forces, the internal security, the coastal security, all those stuff, so this would be probably an equivalent amount or something like that. So the total budget which is available for the industries, the smaller industries to tap is something in excess of about 70,000 crores, which is in hand. So all that is needed is, how do we tap this? That's what probably we at TIDCO are planning to enable the industries to get a pie of this market. So what are the opportunities which are available for MSME? When I say MSME, it's also applicable for the much smaller players, the startups as well. So the revenue budget of armed forces, which I just mentioned, that is one thing which is available for dipping in. Then there is something which is called as IDEX, Innovations for Defense Excellence, which is a challenge which is organized by the MOD so that smaller players can give solutions and get funded for getting these solutions. Okay, for IDEX challenges, the government can give a fund of about 90% of the development fund to the tune of about 1.5 crores. So this is something which the MSMEs or the startups can dip in. And they have Defense India Startup Challenge periodically, which is coming up. And right now we have its 5th episode, which is running. There are 35 challenges which has been thrown up. So this is something which MSMEs or the startups need to take up. Then there's something called as Technology Development Fund from DRDO. DRDO is one of the largest technology developers for the Indian Armed Services. So they also outsource quite a bit through the TDF. So again, it's something like IDEX, but the DRDO throws up their requirements, which can be developed, for which the development fund will be provided by DRDO. And this is something which is a good opportunity for MSME. DRDO develops a lot of technologies, and these technologies are transferred to the Indian industry based on a royalty for the commercial production. So since DRDO develops plenty of technology, most of them are for the defense sector. So this is an opportunity which is available for the smaller players to tap into. Then there is a possibility of international collaboration. There is a negative import list which have been announced by the government of India. That is, these items which are earlier procured by the Indian Armed Forces can no more be imported. It has to be either made by an Indian company or made in India by international bodies in collaboration with Indian partners. As of now, there are about 267 items in this list, and all these items will have to be made in India by the year 2024. So this is a possibility wherein MSME could collaborate with the international companies by which they could manufacture in India. Of course, there is something called Make in India opportunities, which is available on Street and Portal. portal, which I would not like to cover now, though I want to talk about it, but I'm not keen to talk about this because the next session organized by SolutionBuggy is on Srijan portal. So there'll be experts who will be talking on that in a much more elaborative manner. So let me not touch upon that. Of course, there are export opportunities. We are sitting in the Indian Ocean. So there are a large number of countries on the African part or even the Far East. So where there could be a lot of opportunities for export of the same items which we could make for India as well as export. So these are some of the opportunities which are available for the MSMEs here to tap into. Okay, but the A&D industry is not that easy. There are a lot of entry barriers, particularly for the smaller players. I could bucket them into 4: stringent quality requirements, certification requirements, high investment, low volumes, and long break-even periods. There is a higher bargaining power of the client. Let me not dwell into these things because I think the next slide I'll be talking slightly more about this. So I would rather look at these entry barriers are given. How do we, as the Tamil Nadu government agency, TIDCO, Tamil Nadu Industrial Development Corporation, which is the nodal agency for implementing the defense industrial corridor in Tamil Nadu, how do we ensure that these barriers are overcome? Okay, let me go one by one. There is a long gestation period and irregular order cycles for aerospace and defense MSMEs. And when I may say MSME, it's applicable to the startups as well. So we do encourage MSMEs for engaging in dual use products. So what we have done is in our aerospace and defense policy, a company which makes about 25% of the items supplying to aerospace or defense, it termed as a A&D company. That means 75% of their bread and butter could still come from some other industries. Let it be automotive, let it be commercial electronics, name it. If 25% is coming from the A&D sector, that company can be branded as a A&D company, and whatever is the incentives, whatever is available from the government is applicable for these firms as well. There are a lot of entry barriers for participating in Make 1, Make 2, Make 3 projects of the Government of India. So Government of India provides incentives. Apart from that, for companies which are involving in Make 1 or Make 2 projects, we from Tamil Nadu government would be offering additional incentives. So there are again entry barriers for companies which are participating in high-tech challenges. So 90% is provided by the central government, and we are putting our skin in the game by providing incentive of additional 10%. That means the development cost would be zero from the part of the MSMEs in case they're operating from Tamil Nadu. Of course, that's needless to mention. Since my boundaries stop with the boundary of Tamil Nadu, I cannot talk about other states. In case there's a MSM startup which is attempting this IDEX challenge, almost 100% of the development costs would be borne by the central government and the state government. And one more thing was, generally the A&D MSME were treated on par with MSMEs. However, we are coming up with a new A&D policy, which is going to be announced shortly in the state of Tamil Nadu in this budget session, which is currently on. So there are specific incentive and catalysts which are planned specifically for A&D MSMEs, and this is being incorporated in the new A&D policy. There is limited access to DPSUs and armed forces requirement. Yes, this is a serious one. People don't know where to connect with, and we are in the process of having a series of vendor meets so that we connect MSME to the sourcing agencies. We have connected them with various agencies of IAF. We are going to connect them with shipbuilding agencies. So these are the things which we are doing. And there is a high capital expenses for those who are operating in the A&D domain. However, what we do is it won't be possible for a MSME or for a small player to put up all facilities. So we are planning from the state of Tamil Nadu put up common facilities and common test centers at various nodes of the Tamil Nadu Defense Industrial Corridor, wherein people can use these things while bidding for projects. And we are also investing in a common facility. For example, there's one which is already operational at Trichy, which we call as Trichy Engineering Cluster, wherein about 62 companies have invested, and plus the Tamil Nadu government has also invested. So this is a common facility for metal fabrication. So we are planning for other common facilities as well. Yeah, there is a limited ecosystem for MSMEs clusters which are operating in the A&D domain. Because there are very few MSMEs which are in this domain. So we are planning to create aerospace and defense specific industrial parks in all the nodes of the corridor. There is limited access to new technology, which is also a barrier. We have partnered with IIT Madras and DRDO as strategic knowledge partners. So this would enable the MSME industries, which are A&D MSME, which are operating from Tamil Nadu, enabled by TIDCO, to access new technologies from DRDO and IIT Madras. And there is also a problem of lack of suitable forum for exchange of ideas. So we are creating a Tamil Nadu Defense Industrial Corridor website, which would be a dynamic portal for exchange of ideas, exchange of whatever is needed. It will be a platform for interaction between the A&D companies. Capital requirements is always a problem. So there is enhanced capital subsidy, which is envisaged to A&D MSMEs, than which is offered by the MSME policy of Tamil Nadu. Okay, this policy, the new A&D policy will be out in a few days. Certification support is also another problem. So we are providing enhanced certification support for A&D units as part of the new industrial policy, new aerospace and defense industrial policy, wherein we would subsidize the cost of a lot of certifications. Okay. So offset guidelines, I think I would skip this slide. Everyone knows that what is the offset guidelines as per new DAP, and the series of webinars which are coming up, this will be covered in depth. The main advantage here is any investment in industrial corridors, in the industry and enterprises in the defense corridor, would earn a offset multiplier of 2, which is higher than any other state. So this is one field in case companies are planning to collaborate with foreign partners. So that can be done out of the state of Tamil Nadu. Okay, coming to what is, because I've been speaking about Tamil Nadu Defense Industrial Corridor, what is it? The objective of the Defense Industrial Corridor of Tamil Nadu is to emerge as a global manufacturing and service hub, specifically to the aerospace and defense industry. It was launched in 2019 and it spreads over 5 nodes connecting Chennai, Trichy, Coimbatore, Hosur. Each one of them has their own technical strengths. This corridor will create new defense production facilities. We will create clusters with all required certification facilities, export facilitation centers, technology facilitation. All these things would be done. So TIDCO is the nodal agency, and we have as strategic consultant KPMG as well. So our short-term plan is to transition from automotive industry, in which Tamil Nadu has traditionally been strong, to an aerospace and defense industry, and in the medium term to evolve from component to subsystem, and in the long term to transform the entire industry, which could cover multiple domains like design, engineering, manufacturing, logistics, avionics, manufacturing complex, all those stuff. Let me skip this slide. Okay, I'll come here. Why Tamil Nadu? Why not other states? I have my counterpart from Telangana also in the here with me. Yes, we are not competing against each other, but still I need to showcase what is the advantage Tamil Nadu offers. There are 700 plus suppliers of DPSU in Tamil Nadu as of now. There are more than 300 MSMEs which are operating in the A&D domain. We have an annual output of about 5,000 plus aerospace engineers who graduate from Tamil Nadu every year, and about 1.7 lakh engineers who graduate out of Tamil Nadu. Ranks very high in FDI, ranks very high in number of factories, number of industrial. We are ranked very high, and some of the industries which are, it's an indicative list which is available, are also you can see on the left part of your slide. And the main advantage we have is we have a strategic location. We are well connected to port. We have 4 international airports within a small place. We have 4 ports. We have a large number of major ports, minor ports, road connectivity, excellent road connectivity, established ecosystem for automotive and ICT. Industrial infrastructure is very superior, high quality workforce, which has, the state has the highest gross enrollment ratio in the country of over 50%, the highest in the country and equivalent to Western standards. A defense corridor is here, and we have a huge MSME base. So this is, in short, the advantage which Tamil Nadu possesses for those who want to step into the aerospace and defense industry as a newbie. So some of the things which we are doing on part of the industrial corridor, let me not, probably I'll go through fast. We have done a capability assessment of each node. Then we are in the process of reaching out to all the strategy DPR has been submitted by KPMG, on which we will be acting on it. We have already invested in a common facility center in Trichy for heavy fabrication. We are also connecting with the Indian Armed Forces for revenue budget needs. And what is ongoing currently? We are preparing a tech infrastructure report for common facilities at Trichy and Ulundurpet. We are planning to enhance at Trichy center, and Ulundurpet we are trying to put up a common facility supporting unmanned aerial system for drones, specifically for drones, wherein they'll have a runway as well. So it's going to be a 160 acre plot in which people can, whatever is related to drones can be done there, right from flying to manufacturing to testing, everything. So we are in the process of getting at least 4 testing facilities for defense, which could be used for commercial application as well under the DTIS. We are in the process of constructing an Aero Hub, which will be a advanced computing and design engineering center specifically for aerospace and defense. So we have an aerospace park in Chennai. We are planning to create another place also. So we are going through investment drives for private sector participation in CFCs, which are showing very good results. So we are also having a few proposals in PPP mode, wherein government of Tamil Nadu would partner with private industry for operating in the aerospace defense domain. We are also in the process of connecting with diplomatic bodies for collaboration. For example, we have already reached out to UK, Sweden, Czech Republic and other things. So they have shown a lot of interest to connect with like-minded MSME in the state, wherein they could come with a technology partner for manufacturing in India. And for in future, we would be implementing the A&D policy initiative. We would seek central funds to set up a lot of common facilities, technology hub and defense park. We would target global OEMs, which is lacking as of now in Tamil Nadu. We have already targeted Indian DPSUs as well. We would establish a new MRO at Chennai Airport, probably the largest in the size after Nagpur. We would be setting up a drone hub at Ulundurpet. And we are also trying for some preferential procurement from Tamil Nadu Defense Industrial Corridor for the defense needs. We don't know how it's going to work out. Okay, this would be probably the last slide. What are the things, summary. Some of the testing facilities which we are planning. We are planning to have a RF antenna test, mechanical test center, general engineering test center, your drone test center for testing, which would support the defense industry. We are also planning to have an integrated material management facility at Hosur and Coimbatore, wherein we would aggregate the demand so that the supply chain for the material which are needed for the A&D industries would be slightly easy. And some of the centers of excellence which we are setting up, we have already set up a additive manufacturing center for aero engine parts in collaboration with GE at Chennai. We have signed a MOU. It is so this would be for the benefit of smaller players. We are also in the process of setting up a product development center, advanced manufacturing experience center, and A&D products and skill development COE at various places. So these are being set up in private-public partnership mode, which can be utilized by the MSME on an actual cost based on a payment. You don't, let's say there's a need to have some PLM software or DASA software which is needed, Innovia is needed. You don't need to buy it. It will be available here. You can use it, pay for it, and just manufacture your product. This is going to help new product development. And we are also planning for a lot of workshops specifically for the MSME at various nodes of the Tamil Nadu Defense Industrial Corridor, where we would meet the industry people so as to enable the companies to enter in this domain. Some of the topics are listed in front of you about how to defense acquisition procedure, indigenization opportunities, export opportunities, TDF, what are the import embargo opportunities, certification, revenue budget, empanelment procedures in DPSUs. So we would cover all these things in the month of September, which would be an in-person workshop at 5 places in Tamil Nadu, where we welcome the industries from other parts of this state as well, from other states as well, who could benefit from this. Okay, let me not, this is a summary of the slide. I'll skip the slide so as just for the paucity of time. So Vikas, should I take up questions now or towards the end?
I can, there are some questions, so I'll just pick one of them. But Before that, I would like to thank you for this elaborate presentation. It covered almost all aspects, the ecosystem that TEDCO is trying to build, not just in terms of bringing the companies, but also in terms of creating capabilities, hand-holding people, and also making sure that the skill sets, there's no dearth of skill sets to build that ecosystem. So thank you for your inputs. So one of the questions, and I will reframe it, is coming from Mr. Rajesh, who says that Tamil Nadu has been very good in attracting FDI, especially from Korean players. So I think he must be talking about the Hyundai that came. So what he says is MSMEs themselves will come automatically if the bigger players establish themselves here. What happened in the case of Hyundai, where they came over here and then they built that ecosystem. So what is the incentive for a bigger player, and what are the chances of bigger player to come and establish themselves in defense corridor in Tamil Nadu?
That's a wonderful question, Mr. Rajesh. Let me answer this question very, very frankly. When it comes to aerospace defense, Tamil Nadu is a laggard when compared to illustrious states like Karnataka or Telangana. So these two states have established themselves in this domain very well. And so we are a number two when it comes to aerospace and defense. Yes, we don't have a large player as of now. We are in the process of reaching out to large. We don't have a single DPSU here. Even Bharat Electronics, the smallest unit of the 9 BL units is in Tamil Nadu. So HAL doesn't have anything here. Despite the fact that the largest sourcing for HAL takes place from Tamil Nadu. So we don't have a physical presence of a large player. We don't have the Boeing. Yes, Boeing is present in large numbers in Bangalore. We have a small presence. We don't have large companies here. That is a drawback which we understand. We do understand that. We are in the process of addressing that. So probably, if I can say, the large player we have is OFB in form of HVF, which is a large number here, and the L&D shipyard, which is here. So barring that, we don't have a large company. So we are in the process of reaching out to large companies, and there are certain headways which are being made here. It won't be long before we have a marquee company which will be operating out of Tamil Nadu. So beyond that, whatever the way Hyundai or a Ford catalyze the ecosystem for automotive in Tamil Nadu, the same thing would happen shortly. But as of now, we are in the preparation phase. It would happen maybe in the months to come.
Okay, thanks for your answer, sir. So we have few more questions, but I think we'll take it later on because we'll first talk to our next speaker, Mr. R. Sundaram. So I'll just read out the profile. So welcome again, sir, for attending this webinar. And so Mr. R. Sundaram is the founder and managing director of the Salem Aerospace Park. Aerospace Engineers Private Limited is a AS9100D, EMS 14001, OSAS 45001, DGAQA certified company. Mr. Sundaram is a renowned face in aerospace community. He is nominated as a member of the Senate and Planning Board of the Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR Medical University, Chennai by Honorable Governor Chancellor of the university. Is a member of Board of Governors of Government College of Engineering, Salem. He has been nominated as an institute management committee chairman in public-private partnership scheme at Government Industrial Training Institute. Mr. R. Sundaram was also nominated by British High Commission for trade mission in aviation and defense sector to participate in 4-member national level trade mission at UK organized by British Deputy High Commission, Chennai. There are a lot of awards and accolades that he has got, but I will just cover few of them. So in 2017, he got a national level award in MSMEs, first prize in quality products 2015. In 2018, he got the IMA Best Creativity and Innovation Award in 2018. IEE Centenary Industry Excellence Award in 2019. Outstanding Entrepreneurship Award by Honorable Union Minister of India. And I also seen that a few years back, he was also awarded by Prime Minister of India for his achievement. So welcome, sir. It's an honor to, to make you part of this webinar. So I would like to know from you about from an industry perspective.
Yes.
So what do you think is the future for an industry in Tamil Nadu in general and in aerospace and defense in particular? Are you getting the right infrastructure, the right support from state and national governments for development of your industry?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity given by SolutionBuggy. Thanks, Mr. Vikas. I know you for the past 15 years plus with you. And really, it's a great time. The Tamil Nadu Defense Corridor. Am I audible, right? Yes, sir. Yes. Tamil Nadu Defense Corridor. It's not only Tamil Nadu. Of course, it's named as a Tamil Nadu, but there is a fantastic opportunity available for Indian entrepreneurs. That's what I want to say. And I want to say something about the Tamil Nadu, this thing, how we are attracting the newcomers or startup from Tamil Nadu side, and general perspective of the opportunities available for the Indian entrepreneurs through the offset and the Make in India project and Atmanirbhar project later. I'm having a small presentation about my general requirement. I will share the presentation. Window. India. First step and first link share next secret மேலே போயிடுங்க அதில் எப்படி போயிடலாமே இல்லை சார் இல்லை நீங்கள் அதுக்கு போயிட்டு ஃப்ரண்ட்டுக்கு பேக் போயிடுங்க அங்கே போயிடுங்க இங்கே போயிடுங்க இன்னும் ஷேர் ஆகுது ஆகுது இல்லை இன்னும் ஷேர் ஆகும் கொடுக்கணும் இங்கே ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க இந்த இடத்துல Sorry, sir.
I think Mr. Sundaram left the room, so there could be some technical issue. In between, Sir Madhusudan sir, I will ask you one question that I left at that time. So there are few students also who are there in this webinar. So they are asking what is the employment opportunity that this defense corridor in Tamil Nadu creates for employment of engineers?
There is no direct answer to it. Let me put it this way.
Yes. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
What we envisage is that our targets were to have an additional investment to the tune of about 10,000 crores in the aerospace and defense space in Tamil Nadu up to the year 2023. We are currently somewhere near, it's just 2021, we are currently somewhere near 13,000 crores. So we expect by 2023 at least 20,000 crores. So 20,000 crores of investment, in my opinion, should create at least 10,000 new jobs at various levels, be it from engineer level right up to a shop floor level for a diploma holder or ITI result. So the opportunities would definitely be created thanks to the investment. But if it's going to be asked as to what would be the exact numbers, I may not be able to answer. But I would say at least 10,000 new jobs would be created in the next 2 years.
Fine, sir. So it gives a brief idea. On also we can calculate just some thumb rules with some thumb rules that every manufacturing job creates two indirect jobs in the market. So it's three jobs which are created when we talk about a direct employment in a manufacturing industry like defense. This is one. The second thing is, on an average in India, around $1 billion company, manufacturing company, will have around 30,000 people. So when we talk about the numbers that you spoke about, we can roughly estimate that definitely the employment that we want to that would be generated would definitely exceed 10,000 people, because $1 billion turnover company doing having at least 30,000 people, plus those 30,000 people again creating 60,000 more jobs for the indirect people who are from service industry. So more of consultants, more of service providers, more of IT people who will provide ARPR. So it's a big opportunity for the industry, and also people from engineering domain who can avail. So Sundar sir, if you are ready, can we start?
Actually, another few seconds, sir.
Okay, sir. Fine.
I add one name, sir.
Yeah, and to add to what you said, because the same a billion job creating, a billion investment creating so many jobs. When it comes to startups, it will be much more jobs that the investment, the ratio would be much more higher. So there would be an increase in the startup because of the rapid pace at which the Indian needs are going to be supported locally. So there would be need for more number of startups. So definitely the ratio would be much higher. The employment generated would be much higher than these estimates which are applicable for the traditional manufacturing industry.
Right.
Sir, it's uploading, sir.
Sir, it's absolutely uploading, sir.
Why this last demo session it's working, but now.
So if I were to add to that point, in fact, a lot of technologies which are used in allied industries, not even allied industries, very, very diverse industries like communication, etc., evolved from the defense, whatever is innovation hubs, right? So the more this sector improves, I mean, there is widespread possibility for a lot of other sectors to kind of emerge as an effect of that. So even the internet, for that matter, of most of the new technologies emerged from the defense research per se.
That's right. If we see fly-by-wire systems in general, so fly-by-wire systems is more less of mechanical linkages and more of electronic linkages, and then they convert into mechanical. So now from fly-by-wire system in automotive, it goes to drive-by-wire system. So of course there are I agree with what Mr. Praveen is saying, that defense is the hub or the initial point or the genesis of a lot of innovations.
Sir, you are seeing my screen, sir? Sorry. Seeing my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry for this interruption, sir. Next, Mr. Idan. Actually, we are having the opportunity of doing the conference for all the flying machines. Just this thing, and I'm very much interested to go for indigenization, import substitution. So through import substitution, we are having a fantastic opportunity for Indian entrepreneurs. That's what I want to say. Just a glance. Future demands of aerospace and present ecosystem, required infrastructure, ecosystem, government support for as Atmanirbhar Bharat, an opportunity created by our DRDOs and civil aerospace segment. Like that, a small presentation about 10 slides. So India is the fastest growing economy in the world, and thanks for this Corona. Because of Corona, all the businesses coming from China, we are expecting a big business, and of course, as a MSME from India, an Indian MSME, and we are feeling the sense of getting the more business from Chinese origin. And our GDP is 5.72, and it's a global average. and presently current GDP value is around 2.7 lakh trillion, around 190 lakh crores, aiming for 5 trillion. Our government is having a tremendous plan to reach the target of 5 trillion. Here, this is a defense budget of the global scenarios. So overview the aerospace and defense market, we are in the third position. Generally, US, they are spending around 732 billion every year, and China second, and we are spending around 71 billion money for every year towards the defense contribution. So out of this, 60% money is going away from our country. So we need to retain the 60% money from India itself. That's what my point, sir. Another 10 to 15 years, we need to spend around 361 billion approximately towards the procurement of 869 aircraft and 100 plus helicopters. So my 100 plus may be very, very low, sir. I think that around 10 to 15 years, we need around 400 helicopters. 400 helicopters we need to manufacture, we need to procure. And under approval, 569 billions of the deal is going to be get approved shortly. So all this money, if we are retaining at least a 50% plus within India, it's a tremendous business. We are not going to export anything. We can keep the money within our country towards the contribution of the developing the product and creating the ecosystem and the developing and making the product in India under Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the government of India is supporting Atmanirbhar Bharat less than 200 crore value products. So the Hindustan and other DPSUs and DRDOs cannot import. Less than 200 crore value, the product should be manufactured by Indian SME. So that is the reservation available for our Indian SME, and we can tap that business only, sir. And apart from this, civil aerospace also, Boeing, Airbus, and other majors and all, they are coming towards India to manufacture the product in India, apart from China. So coming out of China, and so many MNCs are focusing our Indian SMEs to develop their product in India for their needs, avoiding China. It's a great opportunity for our Indian entrepreneurs. If we are having the capability and quality systems, it may be slightly tough only. We need to focus on the quality system and the infrastructure facility and the creativeness. We can develop the product as international quality and supply at the Indian cost. Certainly we can win the market. That's my this thing, sir. This is offset business, another area. Offset, I think, Mr. Vikas, you can tell about the offset also. Offset is, I think, keeping a butter in our hand. Keeping a butter in our hand. So naturally that foreign OEMs, they need to come to India and get the raw material, get the product, get the bill of material and the assemblies and all from Indian entrepreneurs only, sir. It is a secured business. If we are having the capability, certainly we can win. Nobody can, no country can, no customer can deny our this thing and all, sir. We can. So this is our this thing. In 2018, we got around $1,200 million offset business. 2020 got around 1950 million, and we have a $16 billion offset untapped businesses available. Accumulated business of $16 billion. So every year is going to be laps only. If you are having the capability, certainly the foreign buyers will come to Indian market only. This is MRO. Next segment is MRO. MRO also is around 30-year business. So when we are making helicopters, presently Hindustan is having around 400 plus, 300 plus ALH they are having. And every year they are making around 40, 50 helicopters and accumulating helicopters also. All the MRO business is available minimum period of 25 years, sir. So naturally we need to support 25 years towards this developing spares, components, assemblies and all the other parts of that. So it is a mandatory to support MRO business also, apart from OEM business. So this is the details available for MRO segment. 2019, it's around 2 billion. 24, we are estimated MRO business is 97 billion. 2029, we had a business of $119 billion. $119 billion MRO alone we are able to focus it. Sir, as a MSME, I created the facility in 1988. I created a facility. I am not an aeronautical engineer. I am, after all, polymer technologist. So I'm not having any experience in aerospace. I created the facility. Presently, we are having 20,000 parts on the line. 20,000 plus components we are making for aerospace and defense. Started with rubber. Presently, we are into precision machining and we are making the composites. And last 15 days back, we signed a fantastic contract with Boeing. Shortly, the Boeing will be releasing the what about that? And we are working with so many other MNCs also. It is possible, sir. So all the MNCs and all, they are very much interested to come to Indian entrepreneurs. And it is an opportunity. And particularly here, I want to say about the longer gestation period. Of course, it's a really tough journey. When I created in 1990, in 1988, it was a really tough time. No bankers, nobody is supporting for entrepreneurs in that. It is really the gestation period. Mr. Vikas may be knowing, he's a big businessman, may be knowing about the ROI, return on investment. May be telling return on investment. We cannot get the return on investment within 6 months, within 3 months, and it should be 24 months. Return on investment, 24 months. That too, it's not a guarantee. So it is on the rope we have to go work. But when we develop the product, it's flying. It meets the requirement of the aviation standard. Certainly, we are able to get minimum period of 5 years. We can get the order for this. So recently, our government of India, MOD, has created Make 1, Make 2, so many other relaxed the formalities and also. When we developed under Make 2, so with our money, NRC, non-recurring expenses and all, when we are spending money, so the government is giving guarantee of getting 3 years order or 4 years order or 5 years order. When automatically we are able to get the order and we can recover all our initial expenses and all, sir. It is a great opportunity, sir. Government support is there and government is supporting like anything and create the Indian entrepreneurs. So only we need to become an entrepreneur and we need to have a passion and we need to select our capability, what type of area we need to work and how we have to work. All details are available and the funding also available. About the government of Tamil Nadu, TIDCO is a nodal agency for government of Tamil Nadu for taking care of the industrial Tamil Nadu defense corridor. And under TIDCO, SIPCA, TAAC, so we are all repeated representation. Tamil Nadu Finance Corporation, TAAC, government-owned finance corporation, they reduce their rate of interest to 6%. 6%. They are offering the money for 6%. And the gestation period, we can go for 36 months. So they are giving for 12 months. So they enhance to 24 months. And if it is a defense category, it goes to 36 months also. So it is a fantastic opportunity supported by the state government. And we can come for Tamil Nadu and even other state also. I am not very particular about pulling all come to Tamil Nadu, come to the like that. But it's an opportunity available in government of Tamil Nadu financial institution. They created the longer gestation period and the rate of interest also. It's a fantastic opportunity for startups and old entrepreneurs also. We can come to Tamil financial institution and we can request for their longer holiday period for getting our initial teething problem, overcoming the teething problem and also. And ecosystem is concerned, and there are so many clusters available in Tamil Nadu, like treat the Trichy they are having, and Atal incubation center in Coimbatore, we are having the ecosystem created, and the Hosur also we are going to create a fantastic facility. It's a very close to Bangalore. We can make use of the HAL people to work for our this thing, aerospace and defense and all. It's fantastic opportunities available, sir. My sincere request to the younger generation and the younger this thing, you create your own venture and we have to stop importing the product from abroad and we can do the product under Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme, and we can retain the development, sir. And these are all the initiative given by the government. These are all bigger value. Foreign FDI, they increase to 74%, IDEX program, and so many programs the government is supporting and for encouraging the Indian entrepreneurs. Make in India, that's the same. I already explained all these. And through the Srijan portal, you can daily you can visit and you can select the products. What are all the products? What is the value of the import, and what is the cost of importing cost, and how much quantity they are going to import, and what is the value of the money they import. Like that, all the details are available online, and you can select the product based on your experience and other these things. And these are all the awards given. And we can make any product in Make in India, made for India. Initially, we can make use of our Indian requirement, can take care of our Indian requirement towards our manufacturing this. Then slowly we can try for made for the globe. So like that, I created my venture in 1988 as a small this thing, not having any experience in aerospace. Presently, 70% of our Indian requirement, our company is taking care of that. Presently, we have around 400 plus people are working with us, all young people, and 30% we are having getting the revenue from our export for aerospace and defense components and all. This is my small presentation, my dear friends. Thank you very much for your support on this thing. Jai Hind. Any questions you can ask me. I'm ready to share my experience and all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your inputs. Very interesting. So there's a question which is quite relevant to your experience and your type of, products that you manufacture. So first of all, the first question is about the products that somebody can manufacture at a component level in aerospace. So might be that could be interesting. Second thing is, they are talking about an investment from 2 to 5 crore. So with an investment from 2 to 5 crore at a component level, what can be manufactured in this defense corridor?
With me. Okay.
Yes,
But
yes,
actually, product selection and all, we cannot select the products. Only the entrepreneur should select the product. What is their capability? What is their interest and all. So that's why it's a Make in India portal is available. Srijan portal is available. Only that engineer, they can select. No one can select and give the you manufacture like this. They go to select. They need to work for at least 1 month to select the product and what is the requirement available by Government of India. What is the portal saying? Like that they need to say. I cannot select. You can go on this thing like this. But entrepreneur should select. Yes.
Okay, so I also agree with your point, saying that first of all, we should understand what our core competence is, what we are good at, which kind of products is good for our background, for the type of work we are doing, for the investment and return of investment, what we are looking for. And then once we realize, we understand it is fine with us, then we should go ahead with it. And that is what you did. So of course you are from polymers, so you selected seals. Then you went to, elastomeric devices, which is more of rubber metallic bonded parts. And now purely machining. So gradually you have moved from your core competence to might be a wider area. That is what somebody can do. So thanks for your inputs. With this, we'll go to our next speaker, Mr. Praveen PA. So just an introduction for Mr. Praveen PA. So he's a director with Government of Telangana, heading aerospace and defense sector, leading policy development, infrastructure planning, skill development, industrial partnerships, and investments promotion initiatives for integrated ecosystem development. Additional charge as Director, Banking, Financial Services, and Insurance, BFSI. Previously served in the private sector as Country Head, Chief Operations Officer, and Business Head levels with HSBC, EFL, IL, and FS, IndiTrade, NCDEX, and NCMSL, which are mainly banking, financial services, and commodity sectors. Credited with attracting mega investment, initiating skill partnerships with global universities, and bringing substantial visibility to Hyderabad aerospace and defense ecosystem. During my term, global OEMs including Boeing, GE Aviation, Lockheed Martin, UTC, RUAG, Pilatus, Safran, Rafael, Elbit, etc. established and expanded their manufacturing facilities, technology centers, and skill development centers in Hyderabad. He initiated strategic partnerships with leading UK, French, and US aeronautical universities, Cranfield University, UK, Aero Campus, France, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, USA, and currently offering their world-class courses in Hyderabad. He has worked closely with MOD, Ministry of Civil Aviation, Department of Space, and DPIIT hierarchy in Union government on key projects. He is currently pursuing key initiatives such as establishing a world-class aeronautical university, defense incubator, space cluster, and various center of excellence projects in the state. He has received the best state awards in 2020 and 2018 from Union Ministry of Civil Aviation for the state with most progressive outlook to aviation and aerospace sector. He is an IIM Ahmedabad alumnus and Shivaning Gurukul Fellow from Department of Politics and International Relations, University of Oxford, Public Policy and International Development. So, welcome, Praveen. It's a very impressive profile that you have, and I also see that last 2-3 years the work that Telangana has done is really impressive. And we all know Telangana and especially Hyderabad as a hub for not just aerospace, defense, but also on the naval side of it. So I would like to know from you, what are the key initiatives that government of Telangana has taken? What have been the key successes and challenges that you have faced so far, and what is the way forward?
So thank you very much for that long introduction with us. I think you completely read out my LinkedIn profile. But let me start with the presentation. Just to kind of give an update, Telangana is not a defense corridor, but has always been seen as one of the largest defense manufacturing hubs, manufacturing as well as research hubs of the country. And of the last decade, I think we have now established ourselves as a renowned global aerospace hub. So if I can get my presentation on. Is the presentation visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, sure. So Telangana, the way it has come up is as the most vibrant aerospace and defense ecosystem in India, and is now emerging as an MRO hub. That's the next activity which we are kind of focusing in that domain. To speak about, it's a newer state, and I wouldn't want to go in deep in terms of what the state stands for. We have multiple sectors, leadership in IT, pharma and biotech, electronics, and aerospace is again one of the key areas for the state. So again, the state has shown the average GDP growth rate. So the GDP growth rate in the state level is pretty high as compared to the other states. So we outrank various other states in the multiple indicators, growth indicators. And all our aerospace and defense activities are concentrated around Hyderabad. In fact, unlike the other nodal, other regions, say for example, the Tamil Nadu corridor, which is spread across multiple cities and multiple regions, here almost every in aerospace and defense park of the state is quite adjacent to the urban living areas of Hyderabad. And Hyderabad, as such, has been ranked as one of the most livable city in the country. And again, on the various parameters, the state has kind of really topped the charts. We are lucky, in fact, I'll kind of go to the next slide. We were lucky to have the one of the largest defense R&D and manufacturing hub in terms of all the around more than a dozen odd large DPSUs and defense DRDO labs are operating out of Hyderabad since 30-40 years. And most of them, many scientists who have worked out there had started off on their own. They were the initial MSMEs of the startups. Many of whom have grown to large companies today. So if You can look at it on the left-hand side, the list of the PSUs. On the right-hand side are the leading aerospace private sector companies. And we have around 1,000 odd MSMEs who are actually in the aerospace and defense precision engineering industry today. Now, this has led to the development of the aerospace sector, wherein today we have all the major global OEMs having their presence there. Many of them are having manufacturing facilities like Lockheed Martin, Safran, GE, Boeing. All of them have got their only manufacturing facility in India, in Hyderabad today. Besides, a whole lot of OEMs also have their engineering and tech development centers here. And this region is also known for being a materials hub, thanks to Midani and the composite cluster which we have here. So I think as such, it's a very, very self-contained ecosystem where the MSMEs are there, the material suppliers are there, as well as the OEMs to give them orders are there, and a very, very supportive government, because aerospace is a very tough sector for us. So this is the ecosystem currently we are having. Sorry, the slide navigation is a problem. We are also emerging as a space hub now. A large number of industries are now focused on the space sector. 30% of the Mars orbital mission is contributed by Hyderabad industries. In fact, most of the rocket parts, the machining work happens here. We have a lot of promising startups in space tech and nano satellites to come up, including the awarded Dhruva, Skyroot, etc. And many of the local MSMEs have also, as it was mentioned earlier, the consistency of orders in defense sector was fairly erratic earlier. So many of them have kind of moved into aerospace as well as space as a parallel activity. So many of these Telangana-based MSMEs are also in the space ecosystem today. MRO, yes, we have now. We already have airframe MRO from both GMR as well as Air India. We're now expecting the aero engine MROs from Safran. We are kind of having multiple discussions around it, but then just a forward-looking statement there. Nothing much serious is kind of really worked out, but then we are hoping that this will also become an MRO hub for aero engines, given that both Pratt & Whitney as well as CFM has got their only engine training center in India, in Hyderabad. So we have, as I mentioned, there are around 1,000 odd MSMEs, very, very clustered, concentrated, localized around Hyderabad city. And now most of them are now moving to the peripherals of the outer ring road, which is an 8-lane highway which surrounds the city. So why? I mean, we don't have the benefits of corridor. We don't have the higher multiplier of the defense corridor, which was cited earlier. But then, what we have as an advantage is multiple aerospace parks within close proximity of urban living centers. And this is particularly important for the foreign OEMs who are planning to set up their companies here. Why I'm saying about foreign OEMs in an MSME forum is because this industry particularly is heavily dependent on who will give them the order. Because besides government of India, it's actually the OEMs who kind of, and the supply chain, the tier 1s, tier 2s, who give orders to MSME. So a concentration of them certainly matters for this industry. And when an OEM looks at establishing themselves, they'll certainly look for living quarters. There will be a significant expat population who might come down at least in the initial few years. And that, for them, I think this is very important to have an urban living center adjacent to where the factory is. We have unmatched value proposition. We generally are 30% cheaper than the next, rather the more advanced. In fact, Bangalore has a lead over Hyderabad till date in terms of the aerospace because of HAL and AL, etc. But then we are much cheaper, and that's the reason why a lot of investments are coming lately. Abundant availability of skilled manpower because of the defense and the aerospace clusters. Strong MSME cluster I mentioned, and attractive state industrial the package of incentives which we get. So these are the dedicated aerospace and defense parks. We've got multiple of them. Adipatla IC cities where Lockheed, Boeing, and GE are having their manufacturing factories. In fact, we recently had an event where Boeing had shipped out the 100th Apache fuselage. Fuselage is the entire aerostructure for the attack helicopter. A few months back, last month rather. Nadargul is the DTA, GMR Aerospace is another SEZ, Safran is having their parks, and Hardware Park 1 and 2 are again hardware parks, which are predominantly aerospace companies and defense companies who established themselves there. Recently have an e-city, electronic city, the largest electronic city, which has got a large number of avionics, space and defense electronics companies established themselves. Composite Park is again another key thing, because we got a 160-acre composite park with 60 odd composite and fiberglass manufacturers have now established themselves. 2 new parks are being proposed. The earliest to probably get commissioned will be the eliminator one. So the policy is pretty evident. We give all approvals on a self-certification basis within 15 to 30 days under a single window system. And the approvals to production time frame is as low as 6 months, and that's much appreciated by most of the foreign OEMs who come in here. We got a very attractive mega project policy. Any investments about 200 crores, or which can create an employment of 1,000, which are strategically important. We give tailor-made incentives, customized. This is especially important for attracting the large investors who want to come in. And many times when the large investors come in, they will kind of create a supply chain of another 10, 25 of them, of the MSMEs, who will kind of benefit from these investments. We have a short uninterrupted pause. So this again, a large number of skilling institutes. I don't want to go into that in detail. Large number of academies, aviation academies, and these are important points wherein we have a fairly large number of the skilling and center of excellence is promoted by the industry themselves. Say, for example, UTC has got an engine training center. Safran has got an engine training center here, which is again the only facility in India. The Tata Advanced Systems Limited has set up a center of excellence in advanced craftsmanship center, which probably must have kind of graduates from 2,500 odd students who are getting into the industry. Not all of them are hired there, but probably they might hire around 30-40% of them. The rest will flow out to the other industries. So that's then Kalyani Group has set up a center of excellence in RF and microwave engineering. Adani's have set up a center of excellence on composites. We have a new civil aviation research organization coming up at Begumpet Airport right now. Multiple other COEs are being proposed or underway right now. GE again as a center of excellence in aero engine. And currently, as mentioned earlier, we're working on a world-class aerospace university in partnership with the industry and a couple of foreign universities, including like Cranfield and a few others. So I mentioned earlier. So we have a skilling academy called Telangana State Skilling Academy of Skills and Knowledge, which trains candidates based on the industry's requirement at our expense and then supply to the local industries. And for aerospace domain, we have multiple skilling partners. As and when an investor comes in and they specify a shortage of a particular skill set, the task will engage with the industry and then provide the short-term bridge courses, which will kind of enable the local talent to get in that kind of job. There's a high rate of industry acceptance and job offers from the graduates of this academy. We also have a system of promoting innovation, like what DRDO TDF as well as the IDEX, which the government of India is doing. The state is known for its the key institutions which are built around to support innovation. The largest startup incubator, T-Hub, is now coming up. In fact, the phase 1 is that phase 2 is coming up at 3.5 lakh square feet. And T-Hub has hosted a couple of acceleration programs for the defense and aerospace industry. We have done the Boeing Horizon X and the Boeing Build programs. As part of the IDEX, Airbus Labs is doing a couple of pilots with the state government. Raytheon Technologies, UTC, etc., are also having their acceleration programs here. So this allows the local MSMEs as well as the startups to get engaged with the OEMs on challenge areas which are important to them, which has got a high potential for them to either to get supported, imbibed, or probably acquired by these companies. T-Works is a hardware incubator. Now, when we talk about incubators, generally it is a software incubator which comes to our mind. So this is another innovation, rather, an institution which has just come up, 50,000 square feet of dedicated facility, wherein all the hardware prototyping. It's a prototyping center where the hardware startups can come in with an idea and get out with a product per se. So this is also a great asset for the state to support the aerospace industry. Then we have got another institution called RICH, which tries to tie up all the research institutions and the academic institutions, industry and government to bring out commercializable IPs. And aerospace and defense is the key sector which we focus under RICH. So these are a few of the success stories. See, what really matters is not the first investment, but the repeat investment which one can, because that is the proof of the, the proof of concept in terms of how robust or successful we have been in kind of supporting the industry. Tata came in 2011. They came out with one project and multiple JVs were formed. Today, like 2,000 previously imported empennage parts are indigenized in one of the programs there. So when we say a lot of money is going out and what kind of insourcing happens, this aerospace sector again is a very gradually kind of maturing industry where it requires a lot of certification. It requires a lot of confidence in the OEM to kind of come in. So the progress is natural, progress gradual, but certain. And we have multiple programs on which Lockheed Martin is doing today. So started off with the Sikorsky helicopters, then they came up with the C-130 empennages. Now they've announced the F-16 fighter jet wings programs. It's going to be the single source supplier for that. Similarly, we have the only manufacturing facility with a Boeing tag on it is in Hyderabad. They manufacture Apache helicopters, the Apache helicopter fuselages. The tail cone assembly of Chinook aircraft is started in 2019. And last year, it was announced in 2021, the Aero India, it was announced that the vertical fin structure for the entire Boeing 737 family of aircraft, of airplanes will be manufactured in the Boeing facility in Hyderabad. The third example, again, Safran, they came with first a training center in 2010, then electrical and power unit, which is a very small investment of 60 crore, which came up initially. And they assumed the production will happen in 9 months. The production actually could happen in 6 months flat. So the global chairman came down and announced the aircraft engine facility, which has now come up for commissioning. So this is a 400 crore project, and we are now discussing on further projects. So what I meant to say is any industry which is coming to Telangana today are kind of in very quick succession are adding on more projects. And that's how we have been kind of growing. And there's a huge opportunity for the local MSMEs because most of them can't take up the entire activity in the same facility. A lot of work is kind of getting cascading down to the local MSMEs. If you come to the aerospace parks around the Adipatla side, you see a lot of local manufacturers today have really ramped up their capacities. And that is, so essentially what Telangana offers is a world-class city and a large number of OEMs, which has a potential for quick orders, fast orders, and probably, good business to start with. So I think I'll end here. Right. Thank you.
Thanks, Praveen. Indeed impressive, where you have brought in a lot of big OEMs, and there have been a lot of investments. And as you say that the first investment is important, but then repeat investments also shows the confidence that the OEM or the investor has on you. So indeed very impressive. So I have one question from an existing businessman who is not from manufacturing industry. So he has got good funding with him, and he is from Hyderabad himself, and he wants to enter into electric aircraft manufacturing, complete aircraft manufacturing. So how and which areas could Telangana government help him?
See, for one, we certainly don't do business development for the company. It's an activity which the company need to do. What we have is, we have a large number of experts out here. I mean, people can reach out to me if they have any queries there. But besides the aerospace park and the common facilities which we have here will be a support for that. We got multiple players because most of these startups, when they come up, even the space, when you say the space startups, none of them are having the entire facilities themselves. They're all kind of outsourced to the local industry. So we have large number of local MSMEs who can partner in the productionizing, probably some of R&D engineering that can be outsourced to them. And the presence of a large number of OEMs also will facilitate conversations which can further. Am I audible?
Yes, Praveen, you are audible.
Yeah, so a large number of OEMs presence can also probably test the idea and sound them off to see if there's any joint partnership is possible. Having said that, there's a very as an emerging industry, drones and the aviation. Now recently we have kind of have a relaxed regime announced, but even then the regulations are emerging, so it requires a lot of regulatory support. So if you've got a strong business plan, a strong business partner, a technological partner, and if you were to pilot it out here, the government can facilitate the pilot to a large extent. If it is a larger entity with a reasonable scope of kind of getting it landed, we can also support with some amount of licensing with the central government for some of the approvals. But again, I mean, like it depends on the case. It's on a case-to-case basis we can handle that. There's two different new domains. One is flying, first-time entrepreneur getting into this business of aviation, which has got a fairly long gestation period. Second, they're getting into an area which is still unregulated in a strict sense. So we really don't know what are the ramifications, what all approvals are required, and how we can kind of get it flying, right? So those are my inputs in terms. In fact, there were a lot of startups who wanted to kind of establish a first aircraft company in India. I mean, of all these years, we've still not managed to do that yet. So we need to be a little realistic in terms of the timeline which it might take to get the approval. But I think it's still possible in the current liberalized regime. You're not audible, Vikas?
Sorry, I forgot to switch on my microphone. So there's a question from one of the person who wants to start a startup in aerospace sector. So he says, how Telangana government can help me in funding?
Telangana government will not fund, and Telangana government will not be, but Telangana government has got a lot of these programs, the acceleration programs and the incubation programs of the OEMs, which we try to support and organize in Hyderabad, where the startups can participate, can pitch their whatever solutions they have, and let the investors find the merit, and on a merit basis they will get funding in that. But as such, the government don't have a specific funding program to support startups as such. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So you might facilitate many times when you can, you organize some investor meetings or things like that, not one-to-one, but in general.
Like, for example, 2 days, September 2nd, we are running a program where the director for the DRDO TDF program is coming down to have a day-long session with the startups and MSMEs, trying to elaborate on what TDF stands for, how can the startups benefit, what kind of funding facilities are there. Now, there are a lot of existing schemes where funding can be drawn. So I personally don't think there is a requirement for the state to come in again, because you have the IDEX, you have the TDF, you've got multiple other challenges coming in, you've got the acceleration programs, the OEMs. I mean, if you have a really sensible idea, I think these are the forums where you can present and impress the investors and get the required funding. I mean, that's it. Otherwise, what will a state official, how can we say which ideas should be backed up and how much of money need to be put in? I think that's certainly not a state play.
Okay, I agree with that. There are two questions, in fact, which are almost similar, related to one is Mr. Swaminathan, who is running a sourcing company, and the other one is I missed it out. It has gone down, and that person, he owns he's a process consultant. He owns that process consultancy. So, what is the benefit of having a service provider? What is the benefit that Telangana government will give to all these people who are service providers to the main manufacturers?
I don't think there is any scheme to support them. If they are an MSME, whatever is coming under an MSME guidelines will come in. Nothing specific for the sector per se. But then I think what we promise as a state is large opportunities. Opportunities in the sense that, you have probably 10x number of clients out here than anywhere else today. And when we say indigenization, the negative list which was mentioned earlier, around 250 odd opportunities actually, for the local MSME to kind of mature up and then create. There can be a lot of hand holding, which is, this is the market wherein might be looking forward for such consultants who can help them tap these opportunities. So, but from a state side, I think we provide opportunities. We don't provide necessarily any other fiscal support or, if that is the expectation.
Yes, sir.
So, for example, I've recently had a conversation with the Tata Group for them to kind of have an industry awareness session for them to tell the local MSMEs what does it take to get to be a supplier of theirs, right? So these kind of interactions will bring out the gap here in the local MSMEs, and which they can work with the consultant and then come up in capacity building, etc.
Okay. Yeah. I would like to pose the same question to Mr. Wing Commander Madhusudan. Sir, is there any scheme or any benefit that you provide to the service providers, like sourcing of manufacturing activities, or a person who is offering consultancy to all these people? So, is there any benefit that they get in this, defense corridor?
Let me answer this question, not very, very clearly, but to an extent I can answer this question. As it stands now, as per the new policy, as per the existing policies, there is no difference between service providers for A&D domain and the non-A&D domain. But in the proposed new policy, which is going to come up shortly, until the time it comes, it cannot be quoted officially, there is some advantage which is being provided to the service providers as well. At this moment, I cannot reveal more than this. I think you would understand that. So till the time it comes, it's approved. I cannot quote more than this, but it is in the pipeline.
Because I'll add one more point here. While we don't give anything directly to the service providers, while we approve the incentives for the larger industry set up their business, there's a lot of reimbursement of the cost which they, be it training, be it certification, be it, various other activities, wherein the company will engage the consultant, and the consultant fees are reimbursed through the company, not a direct transfer, but in an indirect way, we support the industry.
Right. Fine. Sir, one more question for you, Madhusudan sir. It's about what would be the first step for an MSME to enter, the defense corridor? So somebody wants to say start a MSME in defense corridor for manufacturing. So what would be the first step? What should he do first, and then what would be the way forward for him?
Mr. Sundaram had already dwelt upon this. What should a company manufacture or something like that? That is completely left to the organization which is planning to get into that. So, as a person who's part of the government body, I would not tell them that where they should get in. But once they've decided what is a product or what is a service they have to offer, then definitely, if in case they are decided to come to Tamil Nadu, I am approachable. Anyone in TIDCO is approachable. They can reach out to us, and we would be here to help them in their journey. We would be facilitators, and we would try to make their journey as smooth as possible. But
okay,
of course,
fine. I think yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I think he has identified the product, and now with the investments, he want to enter. He want to start the MSME inside the defense corridor somewhere. So now he wants to know about what would be the steps. So it's not about the product, but the question is more about how to move ahead and whom to talk, which nodal agency is the right agency to contact.
TIDCO is a nodal agency, and TIDCO would be the face of the Tamil Nadu government as far as aerospace and defense is concerned, and we would in turn facilitate with various other governments. So it would be a single window, and the single window is TIDCO. So we are there for this. The gentleman who has decided can
Yes.
contact us, and probably barring the sleeping time, I'm available.
Okay, great. So, sir, we'll take this final question and ask this question from all the three speakers. It is about industry, aerospace and defense industry in particular. So, how do you think, how has your experience been in the last 1.5 years post-pandemic? What do you think, about the industry? Is it growing? Is it not growing? And what is the long-term future from what experience you had in the last 1.5 years? So starting with Madhusudan sir, how has the traction been in the last 1.5 years? Has the COVID affected it? And what do you think is the future? So,
Yes.
and then I'll go to Mr. Sundaram and then to Praveen also.
Okay, great. Okay, my experience, this is my personal experience. My experience would be shared on both my role at TIDCO currently and my previous role in aerospace account at HCL earlier. So definitely, if you look at the two parts of the aerospace and defense, first is aerospace, in which aviation, commercial aviation comes in. Commercial aviation, the travel is almost none. So definitely that industry has shrunk. So whatever is the manufacturing, whatever is the services which are provided to that has shrunk. Nevertheless, it's not all that bad, because there are a lot of cost cutting options which are coming in now. For example, in the MRO industry, aviation is a very cost intensive industry, and industries are looking forward to cutting cost. One of the largest cost head for the aviation industry happens to be the maintenance part of it. Almost 10%, give or take some of the numbers, 10% of the cost of an asset goes into its maintenance. And in case this cost could be reduced, it would save up a lot of money, and definitely, of course, without compromising on quality. So there is a thrust towards companies looking towards India for saving on cost when it comes to this MRO industry. So it is not all that lost. Whatever is lost out on new product development or supporting large manufacturing quantities have been offset by outsourcing to India. This is about the aviation part. Of course, when it comes to defense, there would be some sort of bumps in the defense procurement of the nation, but this being a strategic sector, the government would not stop it. So the procurement would go on, albeit a bit slow. So there has been a large amount of traction when it comes to investment in the aerospace and defense, but it is all future oriented. So it is still looking rosy. So I won't discount it. I would say that the industry is still very positive. And of course, Mr. Praveen was talking about space. Space is one sector where we are looking at things wherein service providers are going to provide internet connectivity from satellites. So there is a small satellite launch complex which is coming up at Kulashekharapatnam at the southern end of Tamil Nadu, near Tuticorin, which is going to be similar to what is coming up at Sririkota, what is already existing at Sririkota. So this sector is also booming. So there is space for everyone. Yes, but the aerospace and defense sector has its own disadvantage, which I mentioned earlier, where it moves a bit slow. It requires a lot of investment. It requires a lot of resilience to stay invested in this industry. So like we saw the experience of Mr. Sundaram, who has stayed on the long run and benefited from it. He's been one of the legends here. So it requires a bit of patience, but the industry is definitely growing. This is my personal opinion.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sundaram sir, if you are there, if you can speak just a few words about what is your take on, post-pandemic? Will the industry grow or will it not grow? And how has it been for you? Just in few sentences, if you can. Sundaram sir. Okay. Are you there?
Yes, yeah, I'm available.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, how has been the pandemic for you, and what do you think about the industry? Will it grow in long term or not? Is it the right time for people to invest?
Myself, okay.
Yes, sir.
Actually, this pandemic is fortunate for me Actually, in the last 2020, we got an emergency order from DRDO for making the ventilator parts, sir. So fortunately, that 30,000 ventilator quantity, there was an imported part of 46 parts of rubber of my domain. And fortunately, we used the aviation graded material of rubber to make the parts for the ventilator. And it is true, and we completed the manufacturing within 3 months for all the 30,000 ventilators and also. We not even closed for a week, sir. We closed only one day. The two Prime Minister given a 24th or 25th of March 2020, only one day closed. Next day onwards, we started working, and by the grace of God, there is no incidents available in our factory. We strictly followed the government guided SOP. It's this thing. This year also we are making. We made components for oxygen concentrator parts for the Bharat Dynamics and Bharat Electronics, like that. And we are these things. Parallelly, we are doing the defense parts also, sir. Of course, sir. Only the no problem, sir. If we are following, I think we can fight with Corona. Now I think we are knowing about how to fight and how to stay away from Corona. We have to follow, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, great, sir. Congratulations for navigating, through this pandemic.
Yes,
and
sir.
all the best. Mr. Praveen, what's your take on this?
Certainly, people are going to fly. There's been a setback, certainly in the civil aviation side. Commercial airline again is getting delayed. But the fact is, as was pointed out, the OEMs are looking at low-cost manufacturing destinations, servicing destinations. So a lot of work which is currently happening in the high-cost areas are now being considered to be offshore to locations like that. So that may be an advantage for us. Second, I foresee a lot of development on the drone side, because the UAV sector is boomed. There's a lot of liberalization that has happened recently. I'm getting a lot of inquiries from the drone manufacturing companies to kind of really set up and grow there. Defense again, progressive announcement. The central government is kind of give out large number of orders. Large chunk of orders to local manufacturers. I think that trend is going to go up. So, and there was a time when these capabilities were only with the defense PACs. Now that the MSMEs have kind of built up, a lot of capacity building activity has happened in the last 5-6 years in the MSMEs. So the MSMEs today can take up a lot of work which was earlier not available to them. So I believe that DPSUs will further increase their outsourcing. Like ISRO has done, more than 80% of the ISRO manufacturing happens in the private sector. That's the same thing which will happen in the ordnance factories, the privatization of that, which we talked about. We'll also see what activities are core to them, what activities can be given out to the private sector. I think going forward, this is going with the precision engineering industry in toto and the materials composite side will see a significant growth. And the corridors which has been announced, so that we are creating new hubs, the established hubs of say Hyderabad, Bangalore, be it Nagpur or some part of Gujarat, etc., where the old established hubs, right? Now that the Tamil Nadu corridor, the Chennai corridor, the UP corridor, etc., are emerging, opportunities are being dispersed also to MSMEs present in those regions as well. Just like Kia has gone to Chennai, we are also looking at getting a lot more of auto industry into Telangana, which is now gone a shape of a lot of EV investments are now happening here. So likewise, I think each of these states will kind of compete, will try to kind of really bring in investments, and that is bringing a lot of opportunity for the MSMEs of the country as a whole. At the end of the day, we should see what is coming into the country and how much of foreign exchange is saved here. I think that is the outlook is certainly very, very positive and quite encouraging.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for your inputs. So with this, I would like to conclude and also express my thoughts on this particular point, is that if we see the aerospace and defense industry, it's long term. If you see the order books of HL itself, it is almost 1 lakh crore, and their say revenues is around 15,000 crores. So 6 years order book is already there. So it does happen. Aerospace, defense, and space industry in general, it will grow in long term, because mobility is the need. If we talk about civil aerospace, and defense, because of changing geopolitical situation, especially in India, it's going to increase. The defense budget is going to increase, and there's a lot of force or lot of focus on import substitution and development of defense industry, defense manufacturing industry. So there are a lot of opportunities. If we see in long term, all these are going to grow. So with this note, a positive note, I would like to thank all the 3 speakers for their inputs, the nice presentation, and of course, there are a lot of questions still coming in, asking about the contact details of speakers. So you can contact us, and we will then connect you to the speakers. My email ID is vikas.manral@solutionbuggy.com, or you can come to our website and write an email or register yourself. We'll connect. And also regarding presentation, we will try to get the presentation, whatever can be shared, we can take it from the speakers and then share it with all the people who need it. So thank you for being patient, and also internal team in SolutionBuggy. I would like to thank the digital marketing team, the IT team, and our communication manager, Miss Anushree, for this. And so thanks. Have a good afternoon and a nice day ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.